Hi, subscribers and viewers. Welcome back to this channel. So today I'm basically going to talk about mikrotik user manager. But the first question I need to ask you guys is, have you really tried your hands on mikrotik user manager? Have you gone into its features and how to actually manipulate your way through them? Have you tried your hands on the user profiles and their limitations, where you can limit users' bandwidth usage? Have you tried that? Have you been able to change the color and background of the user manager? Right. If you've not done this before, relax and watch me do all this and then have a clue from it. Today I'm not going to really speak about Hotspot. I'm basically going to talk about user manager because I've dealt on Hotspot already. If you watch my previous videos, you'll be able to have the clue about how to set up my hotspots in mikrotik. So kindly watch me as I do a video on mikrotik user manager, and then you can also have an idea of how to set up a user manager in your mikrotik routers. So kindly sit back and watch this video. Thank you. First of all, what you have to do is to make sure you've logged in into your hotspot, okay, before you can actually have access to your user manager. But there is the other way, which is to bypass your hotspot login page, and that will be done by walled garden. Okay, that is what will be used. Walled garden. This is what will be used bypass the login page. So let me quickly log in into my hotspot. This is my hotspot page, and all this design was made by me. Okay, so let me log in, and then we can go straight to our user manager. Right, I've logged in. The next thing is to look for my user manager and then get in there. And this is the link to your user manager. You type in your domain or your domain IP, okay, and then :8087. That's the service port you specified. It should be the same thing as in here. If you come into the router, you go to IP services. I mean this one, right? It should be saying then /userman, short for user manager. So let me quickly log in into my user manager. And then let's get started with what we're supposed to do in our user manager. Okay, so these are something I did. Let me delete everything so that we can start from scratch. Okay, so basically I don't have anything here. Okay, so first of all, when you log in into your user manager, the first thing to do is to configure your routers. So you click on add, then you give a name. So in this case, this is the name I'm using. Then you specify the IP to communicate, between the user manager and your router, your mikrotik router board. And in this case, we are using the radius server. The radius IP you provide in the mikrotik is the only one which can be able to communicate between the user manager and the router. So in this case, this is my radius server, and this is where you need to configure your radius server. This is it. This is where you configure your radio server. So this is my radio server, and then you provide the same password or the same secret you provided in the radio server. So in this case, my secret is admin123. Okay, so you provide the same thing here, admin123, and then you add. Great. Click here and enable. You are done with this one. The next thing to tackle is your profiles. Now, this profiles has got to do with the number of days you are supposed to use your data bandwidth and your limitations, as in the speed expected on the bandwidth allocated to you. Okay, so this is the portion where you need to do that. You know, mikrotik comes with a lot of features you can actually use to help manage your network properly, especially your hotspot network. And this is the portion. The user manager gives you the leverage to actually manage your users very well. So first of all, let me deal with the limitations. Let me deal with the limitations, and then you can do it either way. You can start with the profiles before you come to the limitations. But let me start with it. Okay, first let's start with the profiles to get everything clearer. So my profiles, I want to sell data for, I want to start for a day. So 1 day. Then you can copy this and put it at name for users. Validity 1D. This is what we always do. Then you specify your price. So I just want $1. Shared users, good. If you get to this portion, if you want this profile you're creating to be used by unlimited number of people, then you click on unlimited. So the number of people you specify here will be actually able to use this profile when you assign it to somebody. That's the meaning. Else, you just leave it at 1, meaning it can be used by only one person and only one person. So in this case, I want to do it for only one. I want only one person to have access to this particular profile, so I choose 1. Then you move on to the next one. 3 days. Then specify here 3 days. Okay, you copy the same name, 3 days. And then name for users, 3 days, yes. Or you can give it any name you want, which might be sweet in your ears, So 3 days. The validity is 3D. Take note of this validity. That's the most important part, because if you don't specify it and you end up creating this profile, someone will end up using this particular profile you've created as long as he wants, with no limitations, and that's very bad with business. So the validity is 3 days, and then you specify the price. So I specify the price for 3 days. I want $3, right? I want it to be shared with about 2 people, okay? And I move on to the next one. 1 week, okay. Then you copy the name and paste it as name for users, right? The validity is 1W. So let's look at how I write the validity. 1D is 1 day, 1 week is 1W, and then when it comes to 1 month, it is 4 weeks and maybe 1 day, or just 4 weeks. So you can just make it just 4W, right? So I specify I want $10 for this. How many people? It can be shared among 3 people. Then move on to the next one, which is 1 month. No, I mean 2 weeks. Two weeks. Validity, 2 weeks. The price, $15. How many people? 4. Then I move on to the next one, which is 1 month. Okay. 1 month. 1 month. Validity. I want users to use this profile for 4 weeks and 3 days. This is what I want for them. I specify the price they need to pay. So I want to charge them about $35 every month. Every month. And how many users I want it to be shared to? I want it to be shared to 6 in all. Okay, so now I'm done creating my profiles. The next thing for me to do, right? So you just need to quickly identify it and rectify it, and then move on. Great. Let me save it. Okay. Good. Right, good. So now I'm done creating my profiles. The next thing to tackle is my limitations. And these limitations are going to be linked up to the profiles you are creating. So let me go on my limitations. Remember, the first one we created was 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, right? So we are going to create limitations to suit the profiles we've created here. So limitations, you click on new, then you start adding your limitations. So we said 1 day, right? So 1 day. Okay, good. So this is where you specify the upload and download limits for these profiles, right? Mind you, all this I'm doing has got to do with the users. The profile creation, the limitations needs to link up. Then you create users and link them up to these profiles, right? Else you can't really control them and limit them in certain ways. So okay, so you need to create your 1 day profile, which is created here, and then create your download limit for the profile you're creating. Okay, and so I want 200 meg for these people, 200 meg for these people, and then the uptime should be 1 day, as in you've created in your profile. And then the limit, this is where you specify the speed. This is where you specify the speed. Yeah, you should, the speed you're creating for the profiles. And these profiles are going to be linked out to the users you are going to, the hotspot users you're going to create. When I'm done with this whole thing, you will really understand the concept. Okay, so I'm creating my 2 meg speed, and that is the rate limit. Then my minimum rate limit is also 2 meg speed, 2 meg speed. Okay. Basically, this is what you need to just do here. You don't really need to do so much unless you really want to go all the way to specify figures here. And in order not to compromise your situation, just do it as simple as this way. Then you click on add. Right? When you are done with this, go to the next one, which is 3 days. So 3 days. We want to give them a speed of 500. We want to give them a download of 500 meg, an upload of 500 meg as well. So in all, the person will get about 1 gig in all, and it should last for 3 days. That's the uptime, 3 days. The speed for such a person should be 3 meg. 3 meg. So this, if you see RX in every networking articles or books, it means download. Okay, it means download. RX means download. TX means upload. Okay, so I want 3 meg download of speed and then 3 meg upload of speed. So you do the same thing here, the same thing here. Then you move on. So if you watch here, you have the uptime as 1 day, 3 days. The same thing. So you go all the way to do for the rest of the profiles you've created. So the next profile is 1 week. I want a download of 1 gig. Right? Gig, an upload of 1 gig. The uptime should be 1 week. The speed should be 4 meg. 4 meg. 4 meg. 4 meg. Okay. The next one is 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I want a download of 2 gig for them. Two gig. 2 weeks as the uptime. And then the download should be 6 meg. 6 meg. 6 meg. 6 meg. Don't mind the number I'm putting up here. You can do it according to your customization, right? You can do it according to how you want it to be. The last one I need to tackle is the 1 month. So 1 month. I want a download of 10 gig for them, upload of 10 gig for them, and then the uptime. Remember, in our profile it is 4 weeks, 3 days, right? So specify the same thing here. Your speed should be, I want a speed of 7 meg. Okay, 7 meg. 7 meg. 7 meg. Great. So if you look up here, now we've created all our limitations, right? So we have download of 200 megabytes, upload of 200 megabytes, and the uptime is 1 day. That's it. The expiring date is 1 day, and then you have the owner here. Later we'll go into how you can create users aside from you being an admin. See, so we've created all these are limitations. Now the next thing to do is to link your limitations to your profiles. So come back to your profile. So I have my first profile, which is 1 day, right? Now add limitations. Add new limitation. So click on add new limitation and then locate your limits here. So this is my limit, which is 1 day. You add it up. You click on this and then you save. Move to the next one. That's 3 days. So you need to locate 3 days and then you add. This is what you must do for all. Then you move on to the next one, which is 1 week. You add a new limitation. You add 1 week. Then you move on to the next one, which is 2 weeks. Then you add 2 weeks. Right? Then you save. Then move on to the last one, which is 1 month. Then you add 1 month. Right? Then you save. So now, if you go back and check your various profiles you've created, you will notice that each one has a limitation. See, each one has a limitation. Each one has a limitation because I've assigned their various limitations to them, and these are what you're going to see. So the next thing to do is to come back to users and start creating your hotspot users. So we'll just create one, and there are 2 ways to create hotspot users in User Manager, either the batch or single one. So let's try the single, which is test. So single, let me use this as test. So user name is test, password is test. And then I assign the profile. So this is where you assign the profile. Okay. So let's say I want to assign a profile of maybe 30 days. Sorry, I mean 1 month. Okay, you can further provide certain information here. I mean, concerning the client. If not that, you can just leave that. We have the wireless here. You can provide the wireless pre-shared key, encryption key, and all those ones. Else, you just leave it. But just for a test purpose, this is how we're going to do it. So you add your hotspot user here. Alright, let me get back to my profile and check something out. 1 month. Okay, good. Okay, nothing has changed. So let's come back here. So this is one of creating a user name for a hotspot user. Okay, and sometimes it's just a single person. If you are dealing with especially companies or big firms, I would advise you to do it this way. But if you are doing it for a large populace, like in an area you are actually running a hotspot as a business, I would advise you to, depending on what your user wants, else I would advise you to use the badge. And this is how the badge looks like. The badge has got to do with multitude of hotspot users. Okay, so number of users. This I want to create 100. Then username prefix. Yeah, it should be like this. Username length. I just need 4. Just 4. Okay. So here they ask you, should the password be same as the login? Yes, that's what I want, or you leave it at default. And then you assign a profile. So which means, okay, so let's say I want to assign 1 week as a profile, which means I'm going to create 100 users, 100 batch of users who are going to be on 1 week profile. Okay, so it doesn't mean all of you are going to use one same password and username. It's going to generate a different username and password, but the profile is just one, and this is very good for cafes especially. So let me create this, and you see a list of them, like 100 of them. Hold on, it's still processing the creation. Okay. Great. So, as you can see from here, we have, let me expand this to 500. So we have about 100 batch users created with this username specific prefix. Okay, but then these are the rest of the unique alphabets that were added to your username, right? So as you can see, these are all user profiles. Okay, so let's test what we just created. Okay, so let me quickly log in. I may log out from this place. And then log in again with the username I've created. So test. Okay, so these are my users. It's still processing, so let's have a little patience. Right. Okay, great. So I have my users here. These are a list of users I've created, and they are all linked up to profiles I've created already. Okay. So if you come to profile, you'll be able to see. Okay, so these are profiles I created and they are linked up to these users. Now if you come to sessions, these are logs of users who might be online and they'll be using your network. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, now in customers, this is where you can create users aside the administrator. You can create a user, let's say sales, for maybe your sales agents. You can create that and create a password, right? And then you assign a permission, what they can do in your user manager. Maybe you want them to be just read-only, which wouldn't make any sense. So, okay, now you want them to be able to create users and assign them profiles. So you put them on read and write, right? Then you click on add. Great. So it means I can log out and log in with sales. So let's assume I am sales. Right. Good. So I am sales. And so, as you can see, I'm somehow limited. I'm somehow limited in doing certain things. Okay. I can only read and write, but I can't really effect any changes. Good. So this is what you can do at the customer session. Let me go back into the main administrator and then do what I'm supposed to do for you guys to see. Okay, good. So we are done with customers. Logs is same as sessions, where you can be able to see whatever you've done in here. Okay. People are trying to do stuff, but it's not working. So these are logs. As you can see, I was kind of providing services to certain people, and these are their logs. Payments. Payment has got to do with who has paid. If it's approved, you're going to see it, and the price which was paid. Okay, we've tackled profiles. Okay, the next thing is settings. Okay, good. Now, if we come to this part of it, this is where you want. So, example, these are various tables, like the router and like this one. And we have certain options of them. I mean, certain features that comes with these tabs. And then you'll be able to make them visible. You can either say, I don't want this to be visible, but I want this, but the shared secret to be visible. Or I don't want it to be visible, or I want this to be visible. So, example, let's try this. Okay, so let's put the shared secret here. So you move it here. Okay, it's moved here, right? Then you click on save. Let's confirm. So you're good, right? This is shared secret. Okay, so this is where you manipulate all these things. Now I don't want shared secret to appear here. So let me just revert it back. Click here and then it's gone. Click on save and then it's gone. Good. So it applies to these other tabs as well. And these are the tabs here. Depending on what you want to see on these various tabs. These various tables. Then you select whatever you want to see from the hidden site to where you want it to be visible. So you have the table columns, you have the table here. These are the list of the tabs you see here. Then you have the visible, the ones you can see when you click on any of these ones. And then the hidden ones, the one you click and then you'll not be able to see them. Right? Let's move on to style. Okay, good. This is the background. This has got to do with how to change the color of the background to suit how you want it to. So in this case, let's go to, these are HTML codes. So let's go to HTML color, HTML color, HTML color. Okay, color codes. So we are going to change the color. These are some of the fun things you can actually do with the user manager. You can customize it to suit how you want it to be. Okay, so let me use this color example. So this is main background, main foreground, logo, and blah blah. So this is the main background. I want to change the main background to this. Let's see if there is any changes that is going to happen. Okay, it has gone back to this. I'm going to do it well. Great. See? So this is how you can change the background. So the next thing is main foreground. Let me try and change this as well and see how the whole thing is going to be. Let me use color blue. So copy this, then main foreground. Okay, good. Right. You see, it changes everything. You can manipulate it to suit how you want it to be. The way, it depends on how you want the whole user manager look to be, according to how. So, but let me revert it back to my color. This is my color. Okay. I like purple color. Great. So these are ways by which you can actually manipulate the color view of your user manager. Let's go to templates. So this template applies to the users you'll be creating, and this has got to do with the vouchers you actually generate after you've created the user profile, I mean the usernames, or you can generate CSV file or whatever name it is. And here you can actually edit what the person is supposed to see when a file is being generated, as in CSV file or a voucher is being generated. This is what the person can be able to see on his her login page when the person has logged in. We have language, which is you can change. By default it's English, but I don't know why you can change here. Payment gateways. Here you can specify your payment gateways. If it is PayPal, you can specify the email ID here, and then continue with the URL configurations. The authorized.net, you can do that. You can proceed with the configurations here you need to do for you to have a payment gateway for clients to actually pay through your payment gateways instead of giving you cash. Then we have sign up email subjects. Okay, so these are the parts you can actually manipulate through in your user manager. Then you have your reports according to the period you want to generate this report from. Maybe you want to generate a report within a month. You want to know what has gone on in your user manager. You can specify the date here. Okay, so example, second August 2021 to 12 August 2021. I want to generate this as HTML file. So let me generate and then see what it says. It's taking time. Oh, okay, I'm supposed to save it. Alright, I've saved it. Let me open it now. So this is how you would do. I mean, these are the processes you will go through to actually generate a report. At sessions, when there are users on it, you're going to see them listed here. Okay. Then we have advanced search. Alright. For users, look for users, advanced search, blah 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 blah. The maintenance. This is where you can actually download your user manager, pack that here. Okay. If you want to back up, you can actually do a backup from here. And it will be saved in your router. You can also click on rebuild to actually refresh your user manager as well. Right. Let me see if our report has been generated. It says what? Okay, so there is no reports. There is nothing to be reported on this user manager. So this is what it is with user manager. Now we've come to the end of this video. I hope you guys had a clue of how to actually configure user manager in the mikrotik hotspot and how to manipulate your way through. You saw how we were able to change the colors to suit a custom colors. And so thank you once again for watching this video. Please subscribe, like, and share my videos as well. Thank you.